There are a ton of games coming to the next generation of Xbox consoles within the launch window, so let's take a look at what's ahead. Welcome back to Direckt Gaming. Thanks so much for joining me and finding this video. I really hope it gets you hyped for next generation, no matter what system you play on. If it's your first time here, I'd love for you to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Why not hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss a single video in the lead up to the launch of the next gen consoles. With all that out of the way, let's have a look at what's releasing in the launch window of the Xbox Series S and X. For this video, I'll be breaking it down into two parts. Games that we know are coming within the launch window, and I'm going to call that kind of the first 3 months. Those currently do have release dates, and also games that may be coming within the launch window but don't currently have set launch dates at all. Alright, well, let's get started. The next installment in the biggest yearly franchise, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, is a sequel to the original Black Ops, set now in 1981 at the height of the Cold War. Single player returns to the Black Ops series, this time developed by Raven Software, which will take you on a worldwide tour to locations like East Berlin, Vietnam, Turkey, and Soviet Russia. Multiplayer is being developed by Treyarch, much like Black Ops 4, and zombies will be returning as well. Interestingly, it's also going to support and build onto Warzone, so I think Blackout's just kind of been given up on. So it'll be interesting to see what they do and if they bring a new map and stuff like that. The game will support crossplay and cross-progression between all platforms, which is great, but it won't support smart delivery or free upgrade to PS5. There's a whole confusing upgrade path spreadsheet online, so yeah, that's confusing, but get your hands on COD Blops Cow on November the 13th. Recently available as a demo during Xbox's Summer Game Fest demo event, and highly praised by lots of people that played it, Cris Tales is a love letter to classic JRPGs and is inspired by games like Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, as well as some of the modern classics like Persona 5. The game has an absolutely stunning art style and in this inventive time-based gameplay where you can see the past, the present, and the future. It's got strategic combat using time as your weapon, and you'll get to recruit a powerful team of companions to fight in this dark fairy tale world and shape the story based on your choices. The game will be available on November the 17th, so fans for JRPGs should keep an eye out. A game that needs literally no introduction, Cyberpunk is the next big thing from CD Projekt Red. The game's been in development for over 7 years and is one of the most anticipated games coming this year, and definitely my most anticipated game. If you don't know already, you play as V, a mercenary in Night City, searching for a cybernetic implant that could be the key to immortality. You'll be joined by the digital ghost of Keanu Reeves' Johnny Silverhand and will navigate the megalopolis from its seedy underbelly of gangs to the mega corporations like Arasaka and Militech, in what looks to be one of the deepest, the richest, and most living open worlds ever created in gaming. CD Projekt Red looks set to release another stone-cold classic on November the 17th. CD Projekt Red, being the good guys of gaming, will support smart delivery, but you'll have to wait for a next-gen patch until after launch. But it will play and perform better on Xbox Series consoles. Originally announced as Gods and Monsters at E3 2019, Immortals Fenix Rising is an open-world adventure RPG with a backdrop of Greek mythology and a gorgeous art style. Customizable protagonist Fenix is fighting against the Titan Typhon, who seeks revenge on the gods. Each area of the game is based upon a different Greek god, and the visual design is unashamedly inspired by Zelda Breath of the Wild. The action-based combat gives you a sword and an axe as your main weapons, but you'll also have access to godly powers like the Hammer of Hephaestus. The gods have gifted you things like the wings of Daedalus, Achilles' sword, and more to fight against the Titan's tyranny, and you get to do puzzles and dungeons and combat against a massive array of different enemy types, and it looks really interesting and a huge departure potentially from some of the previous Ubisoft open world games. It actually has me really excited for an open world Ubisoft game that doesn't look set to be filled with loot-based progression and microtransactions, although we will see when it releases. At the moment, it's looking pretty positive. Immortals Fenix Rising releases on all platforms on December 3rd and will support smart delivery and be optimized for Series S and X. The highly acclaimed latest title in the classic Square Enix JRPG series is finally coming to Xbox. Originally releasing on PS4 in 2017, later coming to Switch last year, the game with the longest name ever, here we go, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition S drops onto Xbox Game Pass on December the 4th. You play as the Luminary in the world of Andrea, which has been invaded by evil monsters, and it's your job to build a powerful team of companions to defeat the evil of the world in classic JRPG turn-based combat. Just like the Switch version, you can switch between the full 3D PS4 version and the 2D sprite-based version from the 3DS at any time, and I think it even includes both soundtracks, so the fully orchestrated soundtrack as well as the 3DS soundtrack, which is pretty interesting, with Phil Spencer and the teams at Xbox trying to build a bigger Japanese catalogue like Yakuza, classic Final Fantasy games, and Kingdom Hearts all now on Game Pass. This game is a must-play for fans of JRPGs. With Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 being delayed until 2021, Werewolf The Apocalypse Earthblood looks set to scratch the itch of those with a passion for tabletop RPGs turned video games. Being developed by Cyanide Studios, Earthblood is an adaptation of the 1990s tabletop game Werewolf The Apocalypse, and you'll play as Kahal, a werewolf trying to stop the pollution and destruction of their homeland by the Endron Corporation and a destructive spirit called the Worm. This action RPG lets you take on three forms, the human, the wolf, and the werewolf, to fight against the destruction of Mother Earth. In human form, you can interact and talk with humans and use standard weaponry like bows. Transformed into a wolf, you can navigate stealthily, infiltrate enemy locations without being heard, and as the werewolf, or the Krynos, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, fans of the series, you are superpowered to decimate your enemies, but if you don't contain your rage, it can destroy you once again. The first trailer's gameplay gave me vibes of like old God of War games or something like X-Men Origins Wolverine in fast-paced hack-and-slash style combat, but it will be interesting to see when Earthblood releases on February 4th for all platforms. Far Cry returns with another installment on February 18th, taking you into Yara, a fictional Central American country in the middle of a guerrilla revolution against the dictator Anton Castillo, being played by Giancarlo Esposito and his son Diego. You play as a revolutionary fighting against the dictator's rule, and you'll be able to explore the open world jungles reminiscent of Far Cry 3, but for the first time in the Far Cry series, there will be an urban landscape to discover as well. Personally, I've fallen off the Far Cry series since number 3, but if the story does hold up like Ubisoft is pushing it to, it could be interesting. I just hope it's not plagued with the typical Ubisoft open world list of chores and tick boxes, but we'll see when reviews drop in February. Far Cry 6 will support smart delivery as well for Xbox consoles. So this ended up a little bit longer than I expected, so I'm going to split it into two complete videos. The second part will be available later this week, where we'll be looking at all the launch window games that don't currently have a launch date at all. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, I would love for you to like and subscribe. I'm loving all the interaction we're having in the comments lately. It's wonderful, and thank you all so much for your support recently. You're absolutely blowing me away. I'm completely humbled by everyone who's watched my videos, dropped a comment, subscribed. You're all amazing. So thank you so much for watching. Follow me over on Twitter at Direckt Gaming if you want to just chat about games, and check out the podcast Controllers and Coffee here on the channel in video form, but also over on anchor.fm/Direckt Gaming and all of your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you don't miss the second part of this video later this week. And until next time, peace.